Welcome back, everyone, to the Roman Show. And on the line, we have a gentleman, part of a fresh band. I'm sure you've heard of them on Octane on Sirius XM with their single Low. And I'm talking about the vocalist of Relent, Miggy, joining us right now on the program. Thanks so much for your time, man. Appreciate it.
Bro, thanks so much for having me, homie. It's a pleasure.
Oh man, when I heard your music on Sirius XM, specifically Low, I'm like, man, these guys are totally rocking. It takes me back to that music of the late '90s, the 2000s, the PODs, Head PE. I mean, so much good stuff coming out of that time. And we don't hear too much of that sound anymore. It seems like we're more of the screamo, the new metal they want to say, but with a different twist, with all these other different sounds in the background. But you guys are definitely taking it back and giving us some good stuff, some good content. So congrats for that, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much. Most of us grew up in the '90s, man. So that's when we were around when those dudes came out. So we're excited, man.
So Heart Attack, it was released this year. The single Low definitely has been being played in the airwaves of Sirius XM and many other radio stations and streaming platforms, of course. But so much success with that single, and so much, I think many people can relate to it because of what it says.
Yeah.
So I understand, and take me back here, the band, some of the members or most of the members had to battle their own personal demons with drugs and alcohol. Is that in relation to this single right here, Low?
Yeah, actually it is. Yeah, like you said, most of us have come from that lifestyle, man, of just the sex, drugs, and rock and roll, I guess is what they called it back in the day. But and it took a toll on a lot of us. So Low really takes it to a place of where, man, depression and suicide and those things are very real, especially nowadays with what's going on in our world, man. So I've always wanted to be real, in my lyrics and everything I do. So I think we don't talk about it enough, and so I wanted this song to highlight what I know I'm not only feeling, but people around the world are feeling as well.
And writing that song, you had to look deep inside yourself and put pen to paper. When you're writing this stuff, what came through your head? I'm sure maybe a couple of tears right now, because I mean, hell, it was a challenge for you. It was a struggle.
Yeah, it really was, man, and it's something that honestly I battle every day, and I think people like to look at people who deal with success or have a platform or just fame that they don't struggle. And I was like, dude, I absolutely struggle with this stuff daily, and so for me, I really had to dig down deep and understand that I'm not alone, and therefore I wanted people to understand that they're not alone as well. But it did take me to a place that was pretty hard to stay in for a little bit. Like I said, those songs don't come overnight, man. You got to stay there for a while. But man, I wish we're so excited. We're so happy about the response, though.
And Miggy, being that you are in a rock and roll band, a metal band, yeah, and you just said it, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I mean, it's notorious, right? I mean, let's face it here. We're in a rock concert. We're not going to be, hugging each other. And, So as a rocker or as an individual who dealt with these things, how do you get yourself away from all these things that are around you? Because let's face it, when you do go to a rock concert, there's alcohol and there's other things that, perhaps they should not be doing, but they do it anyway. So how do you put yourself, hey, I went through that. I know what that can cause. I need to stay in my lane.
Word. Yeah, no, it's definitely, like I said, it's an everyday thing, but one thing some people know, some people don't know. We're pretty upfront about our faith, man, and what we believe and how we believe. And everyone in the band has really had this amazing encounter with God that has totally transformed our lives to the point to where it's like, dude, if we can get through this, and God has pulled us out of this, like we have friends. We have friends here in town that in our hometown that are struggling with stuff like this. It's like, dude, we need to be that extension of like, hey, if we can get through this, because we were deep in it, man. We were bad, at least I'm speaking for myself, at least. We had some like crazy stuff we had to get over. If we can do it and God can use us to get through it, he's definitely, willing to use us to reach other people. So that's our whole goal.
Yeah, I could just think of one on the top of my head, Skillet. That's a band, a faithful Christian band that hang around these heavy metal bands. And you would never know that they are a Christian based or faithful based metal band. So kudos to you for moving forward, and despite all these obstacles around you, you spread the message through your lyrics. And with that being said, has anyone approached you afterwards, or hell, even on social media, say, "Hey, thanks for that song Low, because that's where I currently am and it's helping me out"? And how does that make you feel as a lyricist when you hear things like that?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's honestly, it's been humbling and it's been overwhelming. I think we have a lyric video we posted right now. If you go on Facebook or YouTube,
Yep.
I think it's like 145,000 views.
Yep.
And there's, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of comments, and it's a pattern. It's like, dude, this song is my life. I'm going through this now. Like, where was this song when I needed it 5 years? You know, it's just like these crazy comments. It's like, dude. So it really blesses me and it touches me in a way that it's just so cool. There's honestly no words to put it, but it's so dope to know that people are relating to something that I went through and getting better at it for sure.
And curious, why the name of the album Heart Attack? How did that come about? Does it all those lyrics, all those songs, all those tracks mean something, and then that the big branch is Heart Attack?
Yeah. No, for me, everything I'm real about. Let's get to the root of the issue, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, the root of the issue was always the heart. If we allow emotions to be the root of the issue, if we allow opinions or it's like, no, let's get to the root of the issue. And for me, it's always been the heart. So, and then like you said with low comes from the heart, and there's no tiptoeing around what I'm talking about. Like, well, this is what it is. This is what's in my heart right now, and I'm gonna sing and I'm gonna talk about it. And in that, I think when you seek truth in that way, you can get answers. And so, Heart Attack is one of those albums where, it's an answer album from the heart.
So you guys, and quote me if I'm wrong here, have been around for about 2 years, since 2016 was it? About 4 years, right?
Yeah, about a little 4 years now.
So how did the name came about, Relent, and were there other options? And how did you come down just to say, okay, we're all just going to name ourselves Relent?
Where actually, my wife was a big part of the name choosing. But it was a serious moment. We sat down and talked. Long story short, everyone in the band, except for maybe one guy, we've come from, I guess, what people would label as the secular scene. Like, we weren't always Christian. We didn't grow up in the church. We weren't these little good boys or nothing like that. Like I said, most of us just had zero relationship with God growing up. So the definition of relent is to abandon or to turn away from. And I think a lot of us had to turn away from things like addictions, had to turn away from things like even music. There was a year, some years in my life where I dropped music just to focus on my relationship with Jesus, man. And so it was like through that, through relenting the things that I held close and dear to my heart, I was able to find freedom. And so that's just kind of our message to everybody else, that, it's applicable to them as well.
Well, kudos to you, man. That's awesome for you that you defeated it. You went up an uphill battle here, and here you are today. You're a musician, a successful one for that be. Now, there's a lot of Latino influences in the band, I would say. How does that come into work into your music? Do you plan on doing some of Latino Spanish track? I can name a couple of bands right now. Non-Point loves to do that. They do some music in Spanish with the heavy metal. El Nino no longer exists, as far as I'm concerned, or they are, but they're not what they were. So how about you guys? Any chance we're gonna get a little Spanglish or some Spanish heavy metal out of you guys?
Absolutely, man. I will say this. So you got me in a tough position because we're getting ready to drop a song that is in Spanish. I won't say what song it is.
Okay.
But it is an original song, and that's something I've always wanted to drift into. And we have the label that's really kind of backed us up and given us the encouragement to go ahead and pull that trigger. But I grew up with Non-Point, like you said, the late '90s, early 2000s. Non-Point, these guys were killing the game. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so they were a huge inspiration for me. So obviously now that I'm able to do it, man, I want to tap back into my roots and get stuff like that done. And so, but yeah, definitely there will be something very soon, like way soon. So just keep an eye out for that.
When writing a Spanish heavy metal song, is there any difference when you're writing it in English? Or is it more, because when you look at the Spanish language itself, it's a romantic language. It doesn't come out dry. So how do you, in the writing and putting everything together with the sounds, how do you make that match compared to whether you were writing it in English?
Word. Well, this is where it gets funny. Is I think people assume 'cause I'm Hispanic that I speak really perfect Spanish, and I don't. But as far as but I love Spanish music. I grew up around Spanish music. For me, when Spanish music came on, it was time to clean the house as a kid. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's been a part of my culture forever. I can sing in Spanish. I know how to say the words. A lot of times I just don't know what they mean, but I do understand that the culture when it comes to music. Right. The language is so passionate. It's so real. It's so like So I do have a team that I work with when it comes to translating that really, really, really kills it when it comes to stuff like that. But it's a lot of fun. I can tell you that. It's a lot of fun going into Spanish. It's challenging, but I really love the way it's coming out.
Yeah, because you could always add those Spanish sounds that are very well known, like in salsa or merengue. The different beats, and adds that different sound. Like I said, hell, I could think of right now Sepultura, right? They're from Brazil.
Yeah,
it's still Spanish, but they have a different sound, and it makes it so unique. And hell, it makes you even want to dance, right? But So you guys, of course, this whole pandemic has ruined pretty much everything. We don't know when we're gonna go back to heavy metal bands or shows or concerts. Did you guys have something in line that you guys were ready to go on tours or festivals?
Yeah, man, we actually had a lot lined up for this year. We had at the beginning of at the end of last year, we had Mexico in April. We had Germany in October. In between the summer, we had like full tours lined up. And pretty much everything got dropped except for like a few days that we were able to play on some festivals, like in the middle of nowhere, like the middle of Missouri. They were great. They were absolutely like amazing, but we did lose out on a lot. So, it sucked. Obviously, we're hurting on all aspects from COVID and that retrospect. But at the same time, we've been able to be creative. We've been in and out of the studio for the past couple months, and just getting a new album ready. So it's kind of cool how we've turned it around.
So you're saying that we could have some new music by the end of the year or early next year?
I guarantee you there will be something out way before the end of the year.
Oh, that's good for us. We get more music. So when we go on stage, which song here, and again, I don't want you to ruin it for us, but we'll put it this way. What song do you love to play on stage from the current album that you always look forward to? Or maybe one that you don't play, but you would like to?
Honestly, I think Low's that song for me, and not so much because it's the hot single right now. It's more so Heart Attack as a whole. Like we wrote that album before we were signed. That all that stuff came out of pocket. We were just grinding. So that album took like a year and a half, almost 2 years to get out.
Wow.
So when we released it, we got picked up by the label afterwards, and they wanted to re-release it with Low being a new single. And so what happened is that as artists, we were growing in our creative process. Obviously, we're growing as musicians. We're writing, from what I think, better music. And so I think you hear that in Low. You're getting more of like what we're sounding like now. You know what I'm saying? So, but definitely Low's one that I really absolutely love playing live.
Well, we look forward to that. And any chance or are you thinking of doing any, like as I've seen with all these other bands, live shows via the virtual concerts that they call it? Have you done any of that? Have you guys ventured in that, or do you maybe plan to do some of the songs acoustically?
Not acoustically, but we actually just had a meeting about a week ago about putting on an online concert. The works, making it look good, sound good, all that stuff. So it's definitely in the talks. We want to do it right. We're all about execution, man, and making sure things line up the way they do. We want to provide, obviously, if you can't be at the concert, we at least want to make you feel like you're at there. So we don't want to just record us in our garage or something like that. But so definitely, it's definitely in the works. It's in the talks. And as soon as we get the okay, we'll announce it and we'll go from there.
Well, we're looking forward to that, and of course to the new music, and hopefully when we're back to normal, hopefully you guys could put there on your calendars that in there, South Florida. We'd love to have you down here so we can rock and roll with you guys, and look forward to the new content. Miggy, really appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. I can't wait to be. Actually, I think we might be in Florida sooner than you think.
Huh. All right. Okay.
Yeah, I just found that out like today. So.
Well, please let me know. We'd love to go ahead and go out there and support you guys, and keep rocking, and stay strong and safe with all this stuff going around. And again, we can't wait to see you back on stage very soon.
I appreciate it, homie. Thanks so much for having me, man.